today's lesson, we're going to still talk about linear programming, but we're going to look at the word problem that's involving equations. So first example that we see right here, it's the rental truck company plan to spend $3 million on 200 new vehicles. So they wanted to purchase 200 new vehicles. The van will cost $10,000 each. Truck, small truck will be $15,000. Larger truck will be $25,000. Post experience shows that this company needs twice as many van as the smaller truck. How many of each kinds of vehicle can company buy? So the first thing we wanted to do is give the variable. So give the variable for what we're looking for. So we will say x is going to be equals to number of van. And then we'll say y is equals to number of small truck. And then let's give z for number of larger truck. So we're trying to see how many of them we need to buy. Okay, so the given informations, total of 200 new vehicles. So we should be able to say, adding up all those number of the vehicle should give you 200. So I created one equations, and then the amount. So in order to find how much we're going to spend on each type, so we're going to multiply the price with the number of the vehicle, right? So we will say 10,000 times x plus 15,000 times y plus 25,000 times z should give you 3 million. This equation, you should be able to reduce it. This is too large number. So what I wanted to do is divide everything by 1,000 first. Right? Let's get rid of 1,000 and see what happened. We have 10x, 15y, 25z, and 3,000. I think we should be, so I did dividing by 1,000, and then maybe I will divide by 5. When you divide that by 5, you will get 2x, because 10 divided by 5 is 2. 15 divided by 5 is 3. 25 divided by 5 is 5, and 3,000 divided by 5 is 600. So I just reduced that numbers. I have this first equations, second equations. What else is given? It's twice as many van as small truck. So the van, which is the x value, have to be twice many. So in order to make this one equations, we need to multiply y with 2. Because if you wanted to make van twice many as the truck, right? This will give you, if you're going to write it as equations, this is going to give you x minus 2y equals to 0, right? So we have 3 equations and 3 variable. If we have 3 variable unknown, we need to have these 3 unknown equations in order for us to build and figure out the one of the values first, right? So then what can we do? Let's see if we can solve this using matrix systems. So the first equations right here, I have x1, y1, z1, and solution 200. So that's what I'm going to write it in the first row. 1, 1, 1, solutions 200. And then the second equations, we have 2, 3, 5, and 600, right? It will be 2, 3, 5, and 600. And then the third equations, we have x is 1, y is -2. We don't have a z, so z will be 0 and solution 0. So I will have 1, -2, 0, and 0. Let's see if we be able to solve for 1. Let's make first 2 of the column 0. And in order to do that, I will do first row as it is. And then I'm going to multiply row 3 by negative. That'll give you -1, +2, 0, 0. So that gives you 0, 3, and 1, 200. And then if you multiply the first row by -2, this is what you get. And add it into row 2, you get 0, 1, 3, 200. So if I construct the second matrix from the solutions, I'm going to make this one as the second row because I already have the first column 0 and second column 1. Then it will be 0, 1, 3, 200. And then let's make these solutions the row 3. Now I'm going to use these 2 new rows to make the third row with first and second column 0. So in order to make these 2 cancel out, in order to have this 2 cancel out, right? To make it 0, one of the 0, I guess I need to multiply by -3 to the second row. So then you will end up getting 0. That will be 0. That will be -8. That gives you -400. And in order to find the solution, you need to divide everything by -8. So I will have the third column 1, right? So it will give you 0, 0, 1, and +50. So now my solution row 3 is changed. 1, 1, 1, 200. It was given 0, 1, 3, 200. And then solution, this is the solution row, right? Okay, let's look at one more problem. This problem is about Ellen planned to invest the total of 100,000 in, let's see, 4 different places. The first place is money market, bonds, and international stock and domestic stock. She wants 60% of investment to be conservative, which means money market and bonds. And also, she wants the international stock to be 1/4 of the amount in the domestic. So this is all information she wanted to use, and we should be able to create it. And other information, the last information she gave is that she needs annual return of 4,000, 2.5% from money market, 3.5% from bonds, 5% from internationals, and 6% from domestic. And question is how much she should put in each investment. So this is what we're trying to look for. So we're going to give money market for variable X. Bonds, let's use the variable Y. International, let's use the Z. And then domestic, we're going to use, I don't know, W. So you have X, Y, Z, and W. Look like we have 4 unknowns. Since we have 4 unknowns, we need to be able to create 4 equations. The first thing that I see is that the total number of 100,000 is what we're going to invest in all 4 different places divided into, right? So that means if we add them up, it will give you equals to 100,000. So that will be your first equations. So X plus Y plus Z plus W should be 100,000. So 1 equation. Let's see if we can find another one. They also mentions that one-fourth of amounts in international stock versus the domestic, right? So let's do that. So Z versus W. Z equals to W. And then you wanted to have Z international stock to be one-fourth of the amount in the domestic, right? So you're going to multiply W by one-fourth to be equals to international Z, right? So that's one other equations. So 2. What other information we have? We also have 60%, right? So money market and bonds to be 60%. So money market and bonds to be 60% of 100,000. Isn't that going to be 60,000? Right? So equation 3. Let's see if we can find another one. Here, 4,000. So the annual return have to be 4,000, and each return from 4 cases, 2.5, 3.5, 5%, and 6% have to be come up to be 4,000. So we'll do 2.5% will become 0.025 times X plus 3.5 is 0.035 when you change to decimal, right? Times Y. Plus 5% change to decimal will be 0.05Z plus 6% into decimal, 0.06 to the W equals to 4,000. So I have first equation, second, and third. Fourth one, there is a decimals. So I wanted to get rid of decimals by multiplying everything by thousands. So let's multiply this by 1,000. So then I get 25x plus 35y plus 5z plus 6w equals to 4,000. But when you multiply by 1,000, it gets 3 more 0. Let's see if we can reduce any further. No, 5, 6, no comment, so we cannot reduce it. So let's make it that as the fourth equations. Now, we should be able to change all this into the matrix systems. I'm going to use this as the first row. So it will be 1, 1, 1, 1, and solution of 100,000. Let's use this as the second because the other two have only two variables. So this one is going to be 25, 35, 5, 6, and 4 millions. And then let's use this as the third. So x is 1, y is 1, z 0, w, we don't have z and w on that equations, and this is equals to 60,000. That means this is going to be the last one. We need to change that and put it all together, become 1/4 minus 1/4 w equals to 0, right? I don't have any x, y, but z is 1, w is negative 1/4, and solution is 0. First, combining the row that I'm going to do is using first row, multiply by negative 25. Row 1, multiply by negative 25. And then add it into row 2. Since you have 25 and negative 25, that will give you 0, right? So you get negative 25, negative 25, negative 25, negative 25. Negative 25 times 100,000 is going to be negative 2,500,000. And then you have 25. Just copy down what you have in row. Row 2. Oh, we multiply by thousands, right? So if you have 20, this is not going to be 5. It will be 50 and 60 right there, right? So it will be 50 and 60. And then 4 millions. When you do the subtractions, well, adding it will give you 0. That will be 10. It will be 25, 35, and 1,500,000. If I divide this by tens to make this number 1, I get 0, 1, 2.5, 3.5, and 150,000. And let's make that into new row 2. And then I'm going to do row 1, multiply by negative 1, and add it into row 3. Because row 3 is positive 1. I'm trying to make that into 0. That's why I multiply row 1 by negative 1. Row 1, you multiply by negative 1, you get negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 100,000. When you add them up, you get 0, 0, negative 1, negative 1, and negative 40. And let's make this new row 3. So this is going to be new row 3. Let's see what we have so far. So I will just write the first row as it is. And then new second row right here, which is going to be 0, 1, 2.5, 3.5, and 150,000. New row 3 is going to be 0, 0, negative 1, negative 1, and negative 40,000. Right? Or if you multiply everything by negative in that new row 3, it will be 140, right? Let's do that, right? You wanted to multiply this by negative 1, so this become positive. So positive 1, and positive 40. And the row 4 that you had before, it was a fractions right here. So in order to get rid of that fractions, you wanted to multiply by 100, right? When you multiply that by 100, you will get 0, 0, 100, and negative 25, and 0. So in order to get rid of that number 100 to make it 0, now I'm going to do new row 3, multiply by negative 100, and then I'm going to add it into row 4. So that will give me 0, 0, negative 100, negative 100, and negative 4 millions. And then new row 4 is 0, 0, 100, negative 25, and then 0. When you add them up, it cancels out. 0, you get negative 125 and negative 4 millions. What do? We're going to divide this by negative 125 to make this number 1, right? So it'll be 0, 0, 0, 1. That negative divided by negative become positive. It gives me 32,000. So now my everything is same. Only the solution row 3. So this is going to be solution row 4. Will be different. That will be 0, 0, 0, 1 and 32,000. So this means your W amount is going to be $32,000. So amount that you wanted to put it in domestic is going to be $32,000. So using the third row now, because this is 140,000. So this gives you Z plus W is 40,000. So when you when you replace W by 32, you end up getting your Z amount as 8,000, right? 8,000. Now you're using the row 2. Row 2 to find your Y value. So I need a little more bigger space, so let's do it right here. This second row is saying there is 0x 1y plus 2.5w, z plus 3.5w is equals 250,000. So when you replace Z to be 8,000, W's to be 32,000. So then when you multiply those numbers, you get 20,000 and 3.5 times 32,000, 112,000. So your Y value should be 150,000 minus 20,000 minus 112,000, which is 18,000. So now you have Y value. W, Z, Y, and now you only need to find X. Your X come from the first equations. So this is same as having X plus Y plus Z plus W equals 200,000. So that means in order to find X value, you're doing 100,000 minus all other values. That's 18 and 8 and 32, which X is going to equals to 42,000. So that means you're going to buy, let me zoom it out. X was the money market. So 42,000 invested in money market, 18,000 invested in the bonds, 8,000 in international stock, and 32,000 in domestic stock is what Ellen need to invest in order to make 4,000 profit each year.